reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk and time for me to extend greetings to you, my Straight Talk family, wherever you are in the world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we reach and touch you right across the globe, starting right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis. We say good night to the world, my Straight Talk family. Good night to the Eastern Caribbean, I should say, first of all, and should reach my Kittitian and Nevision and Caribbean diaspora all across the globe. Some of you are in Africa. There's some of you in Asia. There's some of you in Europe. There's some of you in Asia. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I can also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And for the first timers, we do have first timers. We welcome you and trust and hope it would not be your last time. And I want to thank all those who continue to share the link. So when you share the link, we get first-timers. And for the first-timers, we are duty-bound to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us in the process strive. Just strive to see if we can get St. Kitts and Nevis back to that enviable position of being one of the freest countries in the entire world. I know that's a hard ask. It's a Himalayan task, I should say, especially with the kind and quality of government that we have in office at this time. But on this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I am going to hasten to remind you that I remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness, as I always am reminded by the words of a hymn that I love so much. The excerpt goes like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. So let us seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. And my Straight Talk family, I can assure you, especially the first timers, that nothing, absolutely nothing, is watered down on this program to try to make it more interesting. Not by omission, neither by exaggeration. Straight Talk, I can assure you as well, is not about sensationalism. It's not about creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy. One thing we do here is we lean on the facts. So I consider it my bounden duty to always present the unvarnished truth. That's what I call it, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance in this, our beloved country of St. Kitts and Nevis. We hear lots of talk about governance and good governance, but we have to ask ourselves, what is their interpretation of good governance? But this program joins us together with people across our federation. It joins us together with people across the world, people in the diaspora, all around the world. Some we know, and we know them very well, and have met some of them. Others we do not know and may never meet. Many we will never meet. Some of us will agree, and some will disagree with the position of truth advance on Straight Talk, and some will also disagree. And that is fine, my Straight Talk family, because we promote diversity, because we are different people. But what will sadden me is if we start to become disagreeable. So let us in the meanwhile thank Almighty God for helping us to understand. Oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us hope and pray for the day when we will all sing His praise together. So welcome once again, my people, and thanks for those who share the link as you bring first-timers. And please continue to share the link. Spread the word all across the world. And for the first-timers, we must also inform you. And for those who are with us each time, we remind you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded, call in. The numbers are on your monitors, on your screens there, and you can see them. There are some of you who like the cloak of anonymity, as I call it. So we give you access via our email platform, which is also on your monitors. You can see that email address, Straight Talk Patches, that's one word, at gmail.com. And some of you may have Alexa at home. You can also access Straight Talk on Alexa. Just say, Alexa, enable skill. And if asked which skill, your response, very simple, Massive Vibes Radio, then you are connected. Thank you, Massive, for providing that avenue for us. We thank you for that. And I say a special welcome to my junior brigade. Young Dwayne, I saw Tristan yesterday, believe it. I saw Tristan yesterday sleeping in all that noise. Young man with his mom. Shama, yes, I saw Shama as well, going to school. I saw him playing football. He seems to have a good left foot as a young man. Taking after his pops, no doubt. Kevin Hanley in Nevis, how art thou? Haven't heard or seen you for a long time. Young Rue Costa over there in South Carolina. Hope you're still on the Dean's list. Is it Dean's list? whatever we call that one, Jamal, Anguilla, Travis, and Travon. Upon extension, haven't seen you as well. And I must hail that special lady who bailed me out today. She bailed me out today, believe me. Words can express my gratitude for her skills that she brought to bear for me today. I must hail Edith. I'm cautious here because I'm not certain if I can call her a full name, but Edith in New York, just to let you know that I got the gift, yes, and thanks very much for that. On a sad note, my Straight Dog family, I learned of the passing of Dexter Tyrrell, a former co-worker at SL Hosford and Company. Then we moved on to Scasper. He was director of the board in recent times. And my ex-student of football administration, I take credit for getting him into football when he was at Hosford with me. He was attached to the Village Superstars, and I, exposed him to fixturing and things like that. But Dexter has gone to the great beyond. We extend sympathies, condolences to his sons, his sister Shauna, and his entire family. And I heard also of the passing of Lyndon Hodge, who used to be at Cable and Wireless for some time, and then he moved on for lots of years to Social Security, to the Social Security Board. And strange but true, I asked for him just a few days ago, as I had not seen him in a long time. Like I said, he last worked at the Social Security. And believe me, the person I asked for Hodge met me yesterday and reminded me of the conversation that we had, but then went on to shock me. And I was told that he died. And I was in a state of shock for a few moments. But I could only conclude, my Straight Dog family, that death do not discriminate. And I will always say as well that death is a process. So for all of you who have lost loved ones, we extend condolences. There's some I might not have heard of, but we do trust and hope that your loved ones would rest in eternal peace. We also consider our observations in review, then we present a short thesis or on a topic of interest, we hope, to all of us. And the title of my thesis tonight, my Straight Dog family, the title of my short dissertation is Enemies of State Within and Outside the Cabinet. However, observations and review are an integral part of Straight Talk. And after which, as I said, we normally move into my thesis, following which I will then conclude, or rather include, your calls and your emails, as mentioned earlier, to allow full participation in our program. Yes, this program, you get the opportunity to have your say as long as you wish to accept. And my observations review is the time when we highlight current issues, we do some reflection, we ask some questions, such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next. And most of all, what new we have learned as a people. And my first observation, my Straight Dog family, it's about the People's Labour Party, the PLP convention on Saturday gone. I attended, and I believe it was one for the history books. One for the history books. And it reminded me, my Straight Dog family, of my team Unity days, as I saw former PAM supporters, I saw Labour supporters, and I saw PLP supporters under one big tent. Under one big tent over there at the Tabernacle Playfield, my Straight Dog family. It was a festive atmosphere. And tell you the truth, it was so festive, I was even moved to dance and raise my rag as the singer requested. It felt as though PLP is the only present alternative. And we really need an alternative to the failed leadership of Terence Michael July. As we, I'm sure, can all agree that we have a good-for-nothing leader and cabinet, as I stated some time earlier. PLP preaches unity, while others are not interested in coming together. And it is very important to state at this time, or to remind you, that the concept of a unified group did not come from Timothy Harris or PLP. It did not come from Sean Richards or Pam. It did not come from Vance Amory or the Snake Mark Brantley or CCM. It did not come from NRP or Labour. The concept of a unified group came from the people. Yes, the people. The people, my Straight Dog family, back then called for a united group. That's what they called for.
One of the issues we looked at was how people felt about a group of politicians who might become united. What was clear from the outset was that there was a notion that unity was important to contest an election against the incumbent. But what is important is that regardless of where they come from, whether it's CCM or Labour or New Labour or what have you, the key point is, you can call it what you will, what came out was that there was a feeling that a united group would be important. And I make the point, united group rather than a unity party would be important to oppose the incumbent.
And that, like I said, did not come from the parties. The concept of a united group came from the people. The people who were surveyed all said in order to replace the incumbent, then we needed to have a united group, my Straight Dog family. So it was sad to hear the new leader of the People's Action Movement, so to speak, preaching this unity. I was taken aback when I heard this, my Straight Dog family.
There are those elements and mischief makers out there who have their own agendas. And talking about Shani will form partnership with this, Shani will form partnership with that, to form a coalition government. Right now, that is the furthest thing from my mind. A matter of fact, it is not on my mind. You know why? Because we are taking number 1, we are taking number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I don't want to sound greedy, but I am not going into this time to win no 50% of the seats. Those who are dreaming of coalition, I will say here today, my commitment to this great party is to increase its seat count. I will also say today, if God has it, that there is some kind of partnership. Who will be the Prime Minister? The people have spoken. Natasha, Shani, Greywood.
And my Straight Dog family, when you hear that voice of this unity, I call it, it gets us disappointed because we need to get together. But no doubt this new leader was still absorbing the bad advice that was given in 2022. How many of us remember this advice?
If Sean had not moved when he did, in 3 years' time, there would have been no problem. Sean had to move to save the country and to save his party.
My Straight Talk family, when we reflect and when we look at what is happening presently in the country, this undoubtedly was bad advice from the second Prime Minister. It is because of such advice we now have, according to Timothy Harris, a dolly house government. What we have in the parliament, as a matter of fact, there is no alternative vision given in parliament. We are losing our freedom to associate in this country. My Straight Talk family, I'm happy that the third Prime Minister reminded the gathering and the world and entire country of St. Kitts and Nevis that we work from 8 to 4 each day, or most days within the week. And we must consider ourselves that we must remind ourselves that we work from 8 to 4 each day, and we are at liberty to do what we want to do in our free time, and we must not be intimidated anymore by anyone, any politician in particular. But first of all, my Straight Talk family, let us focus on coming together as one people. My second and final observation for tonight makes reference to our church leaders. And our church leaders, my Straight Talk family, are silent. They are silent when I believe they should be acting. They should behave as though they are in fact the conscience of our federation. I was happy to see the bishop yesterday, my good friend, who invoked God's blessings on the proceedings. I haven't seen him in a long time. But when I saw the bishop, my mind went back to my friend, Pastor Lincoln Connor. And my friend and Pastor Lincoln Connor served on the alternative live program, I think it was called, or let's call it the Peace Program. It's well known for the Peace Program. The Peace Program, he served on the Peace Program's Management Committee. But recall, my Straight Talk family, that Prime Minister July made this irresponsible statement some time ago.
So we launched the Elevate program because on a corrupt criminal enterprise called the Peace Program was a criminal enterprise endorsed, sponsored by the administration, led by the member from number 7. The Peace Program was a criminal enterprise sponsored by the state. You had what you call a management review board and an initial engagement team come talking about Peace Program. This was a criminal enterprise sponsored by the state, Madam Speaker.
And when I reflected yesterday on that irresponsible statement, that irresponsible proposition from our Prime Minister Drew, and reflected on the cries I'm hearing from persons every day, I do not believe that my pastor friend has turned Labour. Thus, he's not hearing the cries from within his own congregation. Because someone from his congregation spoke to me about that, my Straight Talk family. But he has gone quiet on the comment, no response whatsoever. And I asked the question, Pastor Lincoln Connor, were you part of a criminal enterprise? I do not believe this, though.
You know what that means? Since the election, everybody turned Labour. Well, but if you have any sense at all, everybody would turn Labour. It ain't look like Labour going out anytime soon.
I must say, though, that I take that for a joke, but You understand that when people want to say things, they make jokes. So be careful. But Pastor Connor has not told us whether the committee on which he served was one or was a criminal enterprise. But I do not believe, I'll say so here and now, I'll state categorically, I do not believe that the pastor has turned Labour. Because who am I to judge the good pastor when each of us must appear before the judgment seat of Christ and maybe recompense for the things that we have done? That's the word of from the good books. And those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Talk family. And I move right into my thesis tonight. And as mentioned earlier, and for those who may have just joined me, I have titled my thesis, Enemies of the State Within and Outside Cabinet. And when one thinks about an enemy of the state, normally it is in reference to someone accused of political crimes, for example, against the state. We can think of treason. But when we look at what's going on in our country as it relates to our economy and the life of our economy, I submit that behind the whole story lies the government's desire to present its political opponents as traitors, and at the same time to provide an image of itself as the main actor involved in the fight for good governance and transparency and all that goes with it. My Straight Talk family, the snake Mark Brantley said some time ago that he had no cocoa in the sun. He said this for us to hear, or for the whole world to hear, I should say.
I've seen the lawsuit. I read some 102 pages, I think it was. Took my time and I read it. And I am comforted that there is not one single allegation against me or anybody in Nevis. Not one. So all who have cocoa or sun and rain coming, they're going to have to go deal with that. But there's no cocoa in the sun in Nevis. And if there's any in the sun in Nevis, the sun is shining, no rain is coming. There's no mention. And I thought it instructive that MSR, who was brought to the Federation by us, the NIA, to make movies, is now in this international battle, it looks like, with functionaries on the island of St. Kitts. And nobody in Nevis whatsoever has been named in that lawsuit, nor has there been any allegation against anybody in Nevis in relation to that lawsuit.
But my Straight Talk family, the snake Mark Brantley said he had no cocoa in the sun. And no rain is falling. The sun is shining. But Philippe Martinez, think about it, my Straight Talk family, is Mark Brantley's cocoa. Mark Brantley imported this cocoa from a jail in France, my Straight Talk family. Mark Brantley did that. Imported Philippe Martinez, who is the cocoa.
Mark brought the man here. Mark introduced him to the country. We trusted a member's judgment, as we ought to. We thought the man was a decent man. Lo and behold, the man has a long rap sheet of incidents in the court. The man was arrested, spent time in jail in France, spent time in a detention center in the USA. The man is a bad man. The man is a fraudster. And that is the man who made the face of our CBI program. Well, you think when he goes to people, people not gonna ask, well, how long have you been a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis? Why he gonna say, not yet? But why, Philippe? Why? Do you think Philippe is going to say, I went to jail? And if I were to apply to the St. Kitts and Nevis CBI program, my application will be declined.
And my Straight Talk family, it may not be raining in Nevis, but it is raining in St. Kitts Nevis, even as we speak. But Mia Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, recall, did not allow this cocoa to land in Barbados, but it was through the instrumentality of a Bajan woman who was working at the Nevis Investment Promotion Agency at the time. This cocoa was imported. This cocoa import, I should say, was facilitated into Nevis. And Mark Brantley spent over 10 or 12 million dollars, my Straight Talk family. He spent over 10 or 12 million dollars for this cocoa that he bought into Nevis.
We have made it clear that yes, there is a financial arrangement with MSR. I believe the number is $150,000, if memory serves, 150,000 US dollars, that the NIA contributes. Remember, this was in the height of COVID, for 2 years now almost. So MSR continues to be a solid partner for us.
And yes, my Straight Dog family, Mark Brantley paid $400,000 of the people's money each month to this convicted felon called Philippe Martinez. How many businesses, ask yourself, has Mark Brantley the Snake and the NIA helped in Nevis? Not one local business was helped by the Snake Mark Brantley. Snake Brantley, I should say, said when there was cabinet, he was in the yard. And I can submit that he lied. Because I got to know about Dion Daniel and Associates, for example. Forgive me if I call his name, but I have to make the point. And because every time Skipper, that is St. Kitts Investment Promotion Agencies, they brought the cabinet submissions for the CBI projects. And every time Skipper brought a submission to the cabinet, the Snake Mark Brantley objected on the grounds that the NIA did not approve the project. And one day I asked, well, who is this Dion Daniel and Associates? Only to find out it was Sim Daniel's son, who set up Mark in the very law firm that he got. But he fought his son Dion tooth and nail. There's another one he fought in the cabinet as well. One Hartman, I don't remember the name. But Mark Brantley lies, my Straight Talk family. Well, let me see. We are two islands and one federation, yes. So when Coco lands in Nevis, it is not hard for Mark Brantley to bring this cocoa into St. Kitts. And he did, my Straight Talk family. And the whole cabinet trusted Mark Brantley. There were some issues, yes, regarding conformity to the COVID-19 protocols, but the cabinet trusted this snake, Mark Brantley, my Straight Dog family. And upon reflection, and with all that is going on with Mark Brantley's cocoa, Philippe Martinez and saying that they say nobody in cabinet his name or his cabinet's name, his name. In fact, because of what Mark Brantley did, we can agree that he, Mark, is an enemy of the state. If you drink the cocoa that Mark Brantley introduced in St. Kitts Nevis, you will find out that it has a very bitter taste in your mouth. Very bitter taste. And it has to do with the court and lawsuits, my street dog family. And when we think of it, crime was down from a high of 36 murders on the labor to a low of 2 as of August the 5th, 2022, under Team Unity. Under Terence Michael July, it moved to 10 in the remaining 6 months of 2022. 2023, it moved to a high of 31 murders. And in the first 5 months of 2024, this year, we unfortunately are saddened to report that we are already at the halfway mark of last year's figure with the 15th murder to date, bringing the total amount of murders under Terence Michael July, Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, et al. My street dog family, the total amount is 54. The people have lost faith in the ruling administration and must therefore look to the opposition. But where's the opposition? Where's the opposition? Is there an opposition? There's one opposition member, perhaps, who they try to vilify each time he goes to the parliament, Timothy Sylvester Harris. But my street dog family, I've come to tell you tonight that there is hardship in every aspect of life in this country. And Terence Michael July has no solution. Remember, he said investors were waiting until Labour got into office. Where are the investors? My street dog family. And hear this. Dr. July went to Washington last week, and I'm reliably informed, and I'm checking the veracity of my information, because we are told that he went to Washington to meet Philippe Martinez. What did he negotiate in Washington, we ask. July met with Philippe before he formed his government in August 2022, my straight dog family. He did meet with Philippe Martinez, the fraudster, before he formed his government. Important to note, my straight dog family, as I said, he met with Philippe Martinez before he formed his government.
To spite me, and I am innocent. They are allowing that foreigner with a checkered past, an ex-convict. And you know, boy, they are really little boys. Because they said they don't want to do nothing with the peace program. Peace program, a criminal. But tell me, how do you describe a fraudster? In the first week of his government, he met with the man, according to the man's statement. He had, in the first week, when you're trying to put a government together, the man had access to them there. And the man has a lot of them tape. That is why they have to be at his beck and call. And in the fullness of time, we will know. But they are mashing up National Bank, putting it under additional scrutiny with its correspondent banking relationship. They are mashing up Denzel Douglas, because how could Denzel Douglas go out to represent the country when your government is siding with the fraudster in his suit against you? How can he look people in their face and say he representing the administration. The man not only went after National Bank and Douglas and Harris, he went after Farrell Lawrence. He went after a company called Carib Trust. So everybody in initial documents, he went after Sylvester Anthony. He said Sylvester Anthony was an advisor of Douglas. So you could see the scheme. You want, as it were, to deal with these political threats within and without. But God not sleeping. You shall have your own recompense. God is not sleeping.
He neither sleeps nor slumber, my Straight Talk family. But he met with July before he formed his government. And he also met with July after he formed his government, because Mark Brantley, the snake, introduced the fraudster, Philippe Martinez, to Jew personally, my Straight Talk family.
When the government changed in 2022 and the Dr. Drew administration took over, MSR again engaged with the new administration, and that led to their purchase of the OTI, which, as you know, had been hitherto owned by TDC. Again, the explanation MSR gave to me, they didn't need to give me an explanation, but what they said to me was that that would become their new base of operations. So this was their second foray onto St. Kitts, and OTI was to become the base. And I said, well, because by that time, I had indicated to them that my interest was movies, film, and whatever they wanted to do in terms of film based on the track record that they had developed with me, and I will say it now, and I continue to say MSR delivered to Nevis what they committed to deliver. So I have no quarrel with MSR and that. But they went into St. Kitts for their second round, and they bought now the OTI, and they said that would be their base.
But they bought it and have kept it close since that, my Straight Talk family. But is July the person in government Denzel Douglas referred to? Because the foreign minister and second prime minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, made this statement in the parliament just on Friday, my Straight Talk family.
The point I want to make, Madam Speaker, is that we cannot allow persons for their own personal ambitions and gains, persons who might have become bankrupt, persons who are still having problems with this government and persons in this government, to take out and empty their claw on us here in this country with regard to the citizenship by investment program. Because some people are bent on destroying the program, and we shall not allow that to happen here in this country at all. We don't care who it is, where they come from, what has been their track record. You can't say that you want to sue a country and get, in compensation from the sue, over $1 trillion as compensation. And that is what is happening around us today, Madam Speaker.
But ask yourselves the question, my Straight Talk family. Who is Denzel Douglas, our second prime minister, referring to when he said the person or persons in government? He said there's no alternative to the CBI.
Some people have taken this too far, and in taking it that far, they are destroying the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis. They are destroying St. Kitts and Nevis on a whole. Because even though we may not have been perfect in what we do, at least what is the alternative to the Citizenship by Investment program as we try to diversify the economy here in St. Kitts and Nevis? All those schools that have been built and repaired, all those houses that we can boast of, some people have taken this too far, and in taking it that far, they are destroying the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis. They are destroying St. Kitts and Nevis on a whole. Because even though we may not have been perfect in what we do, at least what is the alternative to the Citizenship by Investment program as we try to diversify the economy here in St. Kitts and Nevis? All those schools that have been built and repaired, all those houses that we can boast of,
okay, my Stray Dog family, July seems to be another enemy of the state. An enemy of the state that he leads. Right now he's facing a lawsuit that is designed to destroy the CBI and this country, my Stray Dog family. This lawsuit is designed to destroy our country, filed by this criminal in our courts, or our court here in St. Kitts and Nevis, my Stray Dog family. And it is serious. It is serious, my Stray Dog family. And we must take heed as a country. I am imploring us all to take heed and to identify the enemies of this state, my Stray Dog family. I want us to take heed, mark you. This was filed in the court. This lawsuit was filed. And it is serious, my Stray Dog family. Very, very serious. And when we examine the content and examine what's been asked for, read it for yourselves, my Stray Dog family. Read it. Read it for yourselves, my Stray Dog family. This is very clear. The claimant, MSR Media St. Kitts Nevis Limited, a limited liability company incorporated under the Nevis Companies Ordinance, with its registered office situated at Joseph Rose Unit Number 5, Longstone House, Main Street, Charlestown, applies to the court for an administrative order under Part 56 of the Civil Procedures Rules, now 2023. In particular, it says, an order for judicial review. The relief sought, my Stray Dog family, it reads, an order of mandamus directed to the defendant, who is the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, my Stray Dog family. Directed to the defendant regarding him to call in and cancel all certificates of citizenship granted to the main applicants and their dependents who obtain citizenship of St. Kitts and Nevis by purchasing alternative investment options granted to Caribbean Galaxy Real Estate Limited in connection with the construction of a prison at Estridge Estate, my Street Dog family. Do you understand what they're asking for, my Street Dog family? It is serious. What that can do to our country. We addressed the RICO lawsuit already. This is the judicial review put into this court by this criminal, Philippe Martinez. But my Straight Talk family, we pinpointed Mark Brantley. Douglas referred to persons in government. Is he referring to the Prime Minister? Or what about the crooked Attorney General, Garth Lucifer Wilkin? Is it him, my Straight Dog family?
And I wonder what it is this man has over them. That the Attorney General, that unworthy Attorney General, could take and WhatsApp, according to the document, information, false information, to Dwyer Stefan, that man, fill in the blanks. And that man sent it to the other man. That is how high officials in government operate, with information, truth or false. We got to begin to ask ourselves.
Yes, my Straight Dog family. This is what he sent to Dwyer Astafan. And Dwyer Astafan is the advisor to this criminal Philippe Martinez. He said so. But Dwyer communicated with the crooked Attorney General, who sent WhatsApp messages to this officer. And Dwyer, for some reason, sent these messages, these screenshots, to his client, Philippe Martinez, or to the criminal he's advising, Philippe Martinez. But ask yourselves the question, my Straight Dog family. Ask yourselves the question. Who, listen carefully, who is representing Philippe Martinez? Who is representing Philippe Martinez, my Straight Dog family? That's the question.
But look who representing the bad man. It is the Attorney General's last workplace, representing Martinez. And the Attorney General is the government chief advisor on this legal matter. Say it makes sense. It was Mark Brantley's firm that registered the companies of that bad man. It is Mark Brantley who went and radio to chop nonsense. Boy, he out in a yard. Well, if you out in a yard, how come you in a cabinet to hear cabinet discussion? Took on hold. And I challenge you. You either believe Martinez and disbelieve your foreign minister, Denzel Douglas. Boy, I say that Douglas has faced something on his Facebook. How they ingratitude, how they're not a real leader. That you have to fight for yourself. Or you go on. Happy for you with all your confusion.
And my Straight Dog family, the lawyer who is listed in the documents is also the nephew of Gerald Anthony Dwyer Astafan. You see how things are knitted? Are these coincidences, my Straight Talk family? Is it a coincidence that the chief legal advisor to the government, his last workplace, he worked all his life, is representing the ex-convict? The chief legal advisor is passing information to Dwyer Astafan. I posted the messages on your screen. But what else can we say about these enemies of the state? The Attorney General, Garth Lucifer Wilkin, certainly qualifies as an enemy of the state. Who else, my Straight Talk family? Another one we must think about is former minister Gerald Anthony Dwyer Astafan, who signed a contract. He personally signed a contract for $54 million. We've asked questions time after time. He remembers things from the 1970s and the 1980s, but he can't remember this. Strange but true, my Straight Talk family. He can't remember this one.
Apparently, he wants me to explain to the nation why I, as a minister, signed an agreement. Well, it seems as though he wants me to explain why I signed. I'm told that he said he's not accusing anybody of bubble, but that he was just asking, where's the money? That's what I'm told, right? And I don't remember. But let me say what I have to say. I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Can't say it didn't happen, my Straight Talk family. But where is the golf course? $54 million just gone like that, poof. He don't remember? But strange but true, my Straight Talk family, another coincidence is that Gerald Anthony Dwyer Astafan seems to have a love affair with criminals. Because Douglas told us this as well about another criminal he brought to St. Kitts and Nevis.
Who brought Stanford? Who brought Alan Stanford to St. Kitts to buy government land at the airport? Of course it was Dwyer Astafan. It was Dwyer Astafan himself who went to Antigua to negotiate in Antigua with Stanford about the price of the land at the airport. It was Dwyer Astafan himself who called me from Antigua and wanted me to agree on the telephone as to what the price of the land must be that Stanford was offering to pay. And it was I, as the Prime Minister, who told Dwyer Astafan, you gotta be crazy, act to St. Kitts and bring that matter before the cabinet and let the cabinet sit down and let Stanford come to St. Kitts, sit in the cabinet room and negotiate with the government the conditions under which he must buy government land. That is why today when some people are making all kind of noises, I laugh. I laugh because they are hypocrites, political hypocrites and political prostitutes as well. Sorry to say that, but that is what it is. Who was it that brought Alan Stanford to St. Kitts to buy land at the airport? It was Dwyer Astafan himself and his law firm who benefited from the sale of that land.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, land at the airport went at 67 cents per square foot. Yes. But do you recall? Where is Alan Stanford? Another criminal rotting in a U.S. jail. Dwyer finds comfort, it seems, in dealing with these criminals. But anyone who reads the content of the lawsuit against the Prime Minister Terence Michael July must ask about the possible outcome for our country. And my Straight Dog family, it is unfortunate that Prime Minister July, Gerald Anthony Dwyer Astafan, Garth Lucifer Wilkin, and that law firm representing the criminal, they have all aligned themselves with this convicted felon, Philippe Martinez, to destroy the oldest CBI program in the world. The corresponding banking relationship of the St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla National Bank. And ultimately, they are hell-bent to destroy our beautiful Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And when one scans the content of the RICO lawsuit filed by this criminal in a U.S. federal court in Tampa, Florida, it is filled with nothing more than spurious allegations. And as I said, Philippe Martinez has also filed this judicial review in our local court, seeking an order of mandamus. He included St. Lucia in his allegation, and in his RICO lawsuit, the CEO of the CIP in St. Lucia. He accused the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Ernest Hillier. He too has also called out this criminal Martinez. Hillier made this point. Let's Straight Talk family.
It is instructive that Mr. Martinez has included the names of the two former Prime Ministers of St. Kitts, but did not include the name of Alan Chasney, who brought Galaxy to St. Lucia and under whose government Galaxy started selling shares.
You understand that, my Straight Talk family? Deputy Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Dr. Ernest Hillier, also exposed the big lie of Philippe Martinez on the number of shares he touted that this firm, or Caribbean Galaxy, got in St. Lucia. And Philippe, Hillier, had this to say.
Contrary to what Mr. Martinez has said in a publicized interview and repeated by Alan Chasney and the UWP, St. Lucia has never approved 14,000 applications. I want to repeat that. St. Lucia has never approved 14,000 applications, and there is no $1.4 billion. We have only approved 1,367 real estate applications for Galaxy since we have come into office. That 1,367 applications cannot, in any mathematical calculations, equate to 1.2 billion or 1.4 billion. You can do the math for yourself. So contrary to what Mr. Martinez said last night, St. Lucia CIP unit has never collected or given anyone $1.4 billion.
And my Straight Talk family, Philippe Martinez, we have now come to learn, is not only a convicted felon, but he is, like Columbus, a liar, my Straight Talk family. In St. Kitts Nevis, our Prime Minister has come to be known as a pathological liar as well. He does what he does best. He lies, my Straight Talk family. Did you hear this one?
That's what? Irresponsible, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I said that in 2020 to 2023, as a result of 5,500 CBI units issued for the prison project, I am informed that 20,116
166 passports have been issued to citizens by investment in the last 2 years, Madam Speaker. Set up the government. Set up the government with this, Madam Speaker. I repeat, because of the prison project. Madam Speaker, the number goes up more. I can just get to the final number, Madam Speaker. Because each time I look at this number, all sorts of things bubble up in me, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, imagine on the previous St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's watch, with the then CBI investment option over a span of 7 years between 2008 and 2015, 10,000 passports. But under the member for number 7's watch, on the Team Unity's watch, with their CBI investment options, 42,979 passports were issued. Madam Speaker, I think that is about the population of St. Kitts. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I can say we are over 50,000 of passports issued. The number of passports issued is possibly as much as the population at this particular time, or could be a little higher. You have to tell the truth. The people deserve to know the truth. It is a hard truth, but it is the truth. The mismanagement of the program has seen us today have more citizens, very likely more citizens by investment, in our own population here in St. Kitts and Nevis. These are the numbers they said that we should give out. But I wanted to be prudent, Madam Speaker, and to make sure that the numbers we gave were the correct numbers. 50,000 is easy to count and to be certain of. Madam Speaker, I look at that number and I ask myself all the time, if 1/5 were to come to St. Kitts and Nevis, it would be a whole different thing. But Madam Speaker...
Honourable Member, you have 30 minutes left on your allotted time.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker.
My Straight Talk family, when you listen to July, he's given the figures that he has studied for so long, but he's not certain what are the figures. And he's saying the government was set up. What is he trying to say is another question. He said that on the Team Unity, all these passports were signed. My Straight Talk family, I am fully aware of the fact that the Canadian banknote company that prints and manages our passports, and passports for most, if not all, of the CARICOM countries. This information is provided to the Ministry of National Security every month. Joe doesn't have to pretend he doesn't know about the numbers. One time he's saying 20,000, one time he's saying 25,000. And he's not certain of the figures. And if you believe Joe, and the fact is as well, my Straight Talk family, that all passports are accounted for by the Canadian banknote. I think that's the company it's called. So all passports issued may not necessarily derive from the applications under the Citizenship by Investment program. That's another question. That's another point you must consider. But why is Joe afraid to tell the country how many he signed? Because the facts are, if, let's use his argument for sake of moving forward, that in 7 years, his predecessor signed 32,000 passports. That's, take it to the nearest, that's just over 4,500, let's say 5,000 per year. But Jew is or has been in office for under 2 years, and he would have signed 20,000 passports, 20,000 certificates of registration. And he must say, because the truth has to come to light. Why is you hiding this information, my Shredog family? But Timothy Harris, our third Prime Minister, I can vouch for him as the one who insisted that the CBI money must go to the consolidated fund. It was under Harris that these monies went into the treasury, my Street Dog family. And it was factual when he said this, my Street Dog family.
Every dollar spent has been accounted for because we took the decision that all CBI monies have to go in the treasury. We didn't have no SIDF like they had before, when they told Hamilton you can't ask questions about CBI and SIDF because that is a private foundation. That is why every year in the budget the information is there about the hundreds of millions of dollars that the CBI makes.
And my Straight Talk family, as I said, the Canadian banknote prints and manages our passports. They provide monthly statistics. So why only statistics from 2008, my Straight Talk family? And that's a pertinent question.
Dr. Jew, I understand, attempted to give some statistics in his own way. And he lied. He can't help himself. He just have to lie. But I gather of all the things he said, he spoke of the period 2008 to 2015. He told his usual lies. And somebody asked me, where was it 2008 the program start? If he's giving a report, why didn't he start at the beginning? What is the secrecy? But interestingly, when I asked, did he tell you how many CORs he signed for the prison? The person said, no. He ain't said anything about the period 2022 after the 6th of August to 2024. But what kind of man is that? That is your period, and yet no reporting, nothing to say about it. But he comes to say, well, boy, too many passports were given out, but up to yet we don't know about from who.
But my Straight Talk family, I'm going to let you have your say. And I want to conclude, at least momentarily, on this thesis. And I believe by now we would have clearly identified who are the enemies of the state. But I must say that the treatment of these enemies of the state will be a complex and sensitive issue that will vary depending on the legal framework, the societal values that we all have or espouse, and the historical context. However, several general principles and considerations must be involved. Of course, there must be due process, legal process, and fair trial. And these enemies of the state should be subjected to a fair and transparent legal process. We must charge them. my Straight Talk family. They must undergo a trial in accordance with our country's judicial system. And we must apply the principle of innocence until proven guilty. Although, with all the facts before us, we can come to a decision that would be upheld to ensure that these accused enemies of the state receive a fair chance. How will we punish them? Should the punishment be proportionate to the severity of the betrayal and damage that they have caused so far for the country, my Straight Talk family? Should we send them to jail? What should we do? Because what they have done is treasonous, my Straight Talk family. But I served at the United Nations, and the treatment of enemies of the state should comply with international human rights standards. So we won't take them to Independence Square and flog them, although they deserve something like that, a flogging. But I'm aware that the United Nations and other international bodies provide guidelines to ensure humane treatment of these enemies of the state who ought to be convicted of treason, like Straight Talk family. I don't think they can be rehabilitated. Should we allow them that opportunity, my Straight Talk family? But people, we as a people need to balance the need for justice with the importance of maintaining public trust and national stability, my Straight Talk family. We must introduce measures to prevent them from causing further harm. And we ask ourselves, why is Philip Martinez taking a government to court and still is the only option on the or the only public benefit option on your records? Something is wrong, my Straight Talk family. And in summary, I submit that the treatment of these enemies of the state, yes, should be proportional and humane in terms of punishment. We must consider their human rights, but we must also consider the broader interests of our national security and our public trust, my Straight Talk family. And each of us, I know, may approach this issue differently. But I still say, although they deserve a flogging in Independence Square, all of them, the snake, Lucifer, July, and of course, the Lebanese, they all have their rights, which will remain a crucial common denominator. But one common denominator, I believe we will concur, we will agree, is we must get rid of these enemies of the state within and outside cabinet. Perhaps you can tell me how, but that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. You can tell me how, because I'll open the lines right now and entertain your calls and your emails. I always like to implore you, when I do so, to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, my Straight Talk family. And let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in doing and or saying those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 20 past the 9 o'clock hour, we go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. You're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd.
Good evening, my dear.
The quotation for this evening. Associate yourself with people of good character, for it is better to be alone than to be in bad company. I repeat, associate yourself with people of good character, for it is better to be alone than in bad company. Have a great evening.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you for quotations. Better to be alone than to be in bad company. So associate yourselves with people of good character. I think that's what she said. To be alone than in bad company. Thank you very much for your quotation, my dear. Sending us off to a very thought-provoking start there. But what do you think, my Straight Talk family? How do we get rid of these enemies of the state? Because they're in fact enemies of the state, my Straight Talk family. Remember my Straight Talk family and the major, the numbers are 663. 663 are the numbers. 663 are the numbers. 663 6672. Please. 663 6672 are the numbers. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah. Good evening, Patches.
How are you, my brother?
I'm great. I am great. I am greater. I am feeling gooder after Saturday's convention in Tabernacle.
Okay.
That was a convention Juve.
Yes, it was.
Can't beat that. Also, let me greet all my friends, and because a couple of them tell me that I throw them down look when water drop on a feather.
Uh-huh.
So I call them up by the initials.
Uh-huh.
VG, MECD, LH, SO, SO, and PS, and Shabakso, and JF. They all know who they are by the initials. Good night, brother. Straight Talk, Nabu, and all the overseas callers, and all who listening to this educated program that everybody look forward to every week, Monday and Thursday. That is, thank you for educating us and informing us. Now there is a big hard boil in this Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. And the boil burst. And all that is running out of that boil is all of those lawyers, corruptors, deceivers, criminals, hypocrites. It is in that hard boil and they're running out and we are seeing who they are. Every one of them. Now you're going to tell me that snake in Nevis, he's one in the hard boil running out. He said his hands are clean, he ain't in nothing. And then you see how he put his foot in his mouth. He's the man with arms open like a cross, welcoming the fraudster, the prisoner who was refused by one of the OECS countries in the Caribbean, Barbados. You know, they tell him, no, why not here, you know. You go back where you come from. But the snake in Nevis want to say he doing something for Nevis. Welcome the man without any due diligence.
True.
That is the reason why when the man, Mr. Daly in Nevis, was telling him about the same fraudster Martinez, he had a lot of things, a lot of words to throw down from Mr. Daly. Not knowing, or you never knowing that it's because Mr. Daly telling him to do the right thing. And he don't want that. Because people from Nevis were saying that he hasn't done anything for Nevis. No investment. He just here talking. And then now he don't want to blame Dr. Harris when he was Prime Minister to say that he bring him down here and he up the hands clean. He not gonna cook his son. Well, Dr. Harris take the the advice from him because he's not part of the Dr. Harris cabinet. And so therefore, Dr. Harris don't expect him to do not do the job that he's supposed to do. So now he want to say is Dr. Harris got that old fraudster Martinez in St. Kitts. But we are getting the facts. We're getting them. That is, you know the song here? That cocoa tea is a poison to me. From the time I drink it, I don't know where I'm being. That is fraudster. That cocoa tea. He not neither citizen of St. Kitts. He ain't born here, but he's selling our passport. Well, why? You are not a citizen of the country that passport you are selling. Why? So everybody can see because he got his bad record behind him and he's trying to hide it. I won't come back. Oh, well, time short. So let me say what I'm going to say now because time short. Dr. July, as usual, he make about of lies. He criticized the Horizon prison. And then as soon as he get in, he said, well, we turn on the switch and he has to continue. But he know how many passports were sold or delivered from 2008 come up to now, but he can't say how much he sell. Now I get it from you tonight. 20,000 and who knows, it could be more. He's something like the man who say he can't remember why he signed $54 million down La Valley. Patrick, I'll come back. Thank you very much, so long, brother.
Thank you very much. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straight Talk.
How are you, my brother?
What can I say, man? It's a blessing. It's a blessing to hear you again tonight.
Yeah, I'm blessed to hear as well. You have your equipment on in the background there?
Hold on.
Yes, you. Yes, we are getting enough feedback here. And yes, my Straight Talk family, if you have just joined us, we are discussing the theme or thesis for tonight, enemies of the state.
All right, Mr. Straight Talk.
Yes.
So how are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Mr. Straight Talk, I'm good. I thank God for his blessing on me, so I just got to do what I have to do. Mr. Straight Talk, I was listening. Me and my brother was talking there a little bit. That girl, that young lady, that gonna run, so she gonna come prime minister. Do she got a constituency as yet?
Well, she ran in number one last election. So.
Oh, so is she?
Yes, is she? Yeah.
Okay, I understand. But that girl is out of order. No man gonna win number 6 until one of these years somebody gonna win it. But she decided she gonna win all of them. That lady crazy? From the time I know Pam always have somebody standing by the side. She decided she wanna run by herself. She gonna run Pam and just think that Pam gonna take that girl out of order, yeah, man. Anyway, Mr. Straight, let me just say good night to my lovely niece there in St. Louis. I hear her voice today over that I said with something that she is involved in. So my niece, just continue to do what you're doing. And Texas Queen, how are you? You guys be good. Mr. Straight Talk, you just continue to do what you're doing. You're doing a wonderful job, and the people love you. The people are listening to you because you do the right thing. So just continue to do what you're doing, Mr. Straight Talk. That's all I have to say. It's a blessing to hear you. Just stand up strong. No give up. Just continue to fight. Okay. Mr. Straight Talk, I'll see you soon.
Yes, see you when I see you, my brother. Have yourself a wonderful night. And I say greetings to Jamaica. Jamaica in the house, saying good night to Eulalie over there in Jamaica. I thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Crutches?
Yes, sir. Good night, my lord.
This is the major.
I thought it sounds like the major, fallen major.
How are you?
I am peaceful.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yes, you know that I like to test your brain, you know. Wow. And you're a professor.
Oh my gosh. I'm a humble servant, my brother.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. No, I was here laying down here. I was reading a little thing here. And this thought just come to my mind. And you know that whenever thoughts come to my mind, I always like to approach you. So here what I'm going to say now. We live in a world where the intelligent must keep quiet so that the stupid will not be offended. You hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening, my brother. I'm listening.
Let me say it hard again. We live in a world where the intelligent must keep quiet so that the stupid will not be offended. Now, what I'm trying to underline is stupid. What is the meaning of stupid?
Tell me.
What is the meaning of stupid?
I know former deputy prime minister just said people call him stupid. I don't know. It's the same context, you know. Yeah. I can play that. I can play that for you, and perhaps that will provide the definition you're looking for. If I can find it anytime now, you know, I can play the song for you.
How I get that? How I understand that? To be stupid, it means you're dull to intellect, and you're senseless.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm listening. I'm trying to find while I'm speaking with you your good friend, your former classmate. I think he was. Perhaps you would know.
Well, I really not touching. I am not touching nobody specifically, right? I am just saying, well, do we as intellect, sometimes we have to keep quiet. Sometimes we have to keep quiet, but not all the time. I've said sometimes because you know how the world going. You know how the world going, isn't it?
Yes.
You're born here, I born here. We know how the world going, and that's what I'm saying. That the world is we believe that intelligent people we must keep quiet.
Okay.
Don't
offend me, stupid. Okay, I got you, my brother.
Okay.
Have yourself a wonderful night. And when you get off the phone, you should listen to this. And this is what the deputy said. The way people think about him. He said this, my Straight Talk family.
They don't with me. I don't make no fuss about that. Because that is not for me. What I know, once I know what I'm doing is what I believe, what I think. I'm not saying that I am no scholar, I'm not brain, I know anything, I know everything. I'm not saying that. In fact, the best that could be said about me is that maybe I was an average student, and you don't have to be more than that to, but people think that I'm stupid. I ain't got no sense. I always have to follow what people say.
Well, Major, I don't know if that's a definition you'll accept. You have to follow what people say, then else to think. And if you do, rather to think you're stupid. The jokey Prime Minister reads this email. It's 9:34. In the Parliament, grandstanding, talking about the CBI passports, giving a false impression that Team Unity did something wrong. And the so-called opposition leader in the House, along with his two other Nevis members, who were part of the Team Unity government, sat there in silence and failed to stand up to defend themselves and Team Unity in general. Because of their ignorance, stupidity, and fearful of their own shadow, cannot object to anything Jew says, because in their own minds, Jew is not speaking to them, is Harris. Harris, he means. Because Harris was the only Team Unity member in government. I can't believe that these CCM members in the House are still so stupid to swallow up and gobble Jews' nonsense without any denial. All these jokers are concerned about is the fat salaries they are getting, and they will not do or say anything that will jeopardize their monthly payments. For them is self above country, and to hell with country. Reads this email. And this other email reads, I believe the Prime Minister has gone mad. Timothy Harris has him going crazy with his name. At every press conference or roundtable discussion, Harris's name must be called in his opening remarks, and then the entire discussion is taken up on Harris. And because Harris is so important to him, he has to end up the discussion on Harris. Other than that, his briefings will become monotonous. Reads this email. Uninteresting and boring because he has nothing else or nothing exhilarating to say and excitable to talk about. We are tired of hearing the names Harris, Team Unity, and 7 years. Tell us about infighting in the cabinet with your fraction and Douglas's fraction. Tell us no matter how many times Douglas hypocritically addressed you in the public as our distinguished Prime Minister, the one infraction still goes on in privacy of cabinet. Furthermore, tell us why you have some of your cabinet ministers operated their private companies in disguise in competition with the public sector. This is blatant conflict of interest and corruption to the highest level. Is this the type of good governance you invariably are talking about? Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live. Hello, caller.
Hi, Patrice. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah. Mark said that who have cocoa in sun look for rain.
Yes.
It's not only them who have cocoa in sun look for rain, because if you have sugar outside and the rain come, you're going to melt it. If you have flour, you're going to wash it away and also rice. So when the rain fall, it fall on the just and the unjust.
Yes.
So let him know that, because he say he's clean, but when the rain fall, he's going to get his dose too.
You're right.
He's going to get his dose. Because again, when the rain fall, it fall on the just and the unjust. That's all I have to say. You take care.
Well said, my dear lady. Yes. It don't fall on one man house. That's what Bob Marley said. When the rain fall, it don't fall on one man house. And yes, Mark Brantley said this about his cocoa in the rain. And according to him, the rain is not falling in Nevis.
I've seen the lawsuit. I read some 102 pages, I think it was. Took my time and I read it. And I am comforted that there is not one single allegation against me or anybody in Nevis. Not one. So all who have cocoa or sun and rain coming, they're going to have to go deal with that. But there's no cocoa in the sun in Nevis. And if there's any in the sun in Nevis, the sun is shining, no rain is coming. There's no mention. And I thought it instructive that MSR was brought to the Federation by us, the NIA, to make movies, is now in this international battle, it looks like, with functionaries on the island of St. Kitts. And nobody in Nevis whatsoever has been named in that lawsuit, nor has there been any allegation against anybody in Nevis in relation to that lawsuit.
Yes, but his cocoa, believe it or not, is Philippe Martinez. That's Mark Brantley's cocoa that he brought into Nevis. We have a crisis in the country, reads this email. The ministers and their appointed political hacks are trying very hard to empty the treasury before the next elections because they know that they will not be in power after 2027. I went to draw what's happening at the ministry. I want to draw, beg your pardon, sorry. What's happening. I want to draw what's happening at the Ministry of Health to the public's attention under this inexperienced and unqualified permanent secretary and minister. Patches, this permanent secretary, Martin and Maynard, up and down painting health centers, the hospitals, the ministry, building, doing all kinds of work, fixing this and fixing that, hiring their family and friends, giving them big contracts without any proper procedures and protocols. The last thing I hear is that 2 retired old women close to 70 years who don't have any advanced level qualifications were recently hired to manage the Ministry of Health. And Maynard, the director of operations at the hospital, sent her sister to be the finance officer down the ministry. This conflict of interest and the misuse of government resources must stop. Where are the political, where are the politicians or ex-politicians Dwyer and Sam Condor to talk about transparency and accountability? Where is the crooked Martin, who are they all in the scheme to creatively misuse and mismanage the taxpayers' monies to enrich themselves with the kickbacks channeled through their friends and family? If we are getting a smart hospital, they are wasting all these money while poor people can't buy medication. I guess the smart hospital is a hoax too, with this email. My Straight Talk family, as that emailer mentioned hospital. Recall when July came to office, in fact, took the same lady they are all trying to vilify as part of his delegation to the United Nations General Assembly. As part of the delegation to the assembly, they took the same lady they are trying to vilify, as I said, to the United Nations. And one of the things, remember when he was in opposition and criticized the correctional facility that most people are referring to as the prison. And he wanted to, upon the advice of Astefan, say there should build housing. And he did in fact ask the investor for housing and hospital. We learned that on Sunday, my Straight Talk family. We learned this.
The very people he said were bad, were corrupt, he took them and his delegation to New York. What manner of man is that? He begged them to do the housing project. They turned him down. Dr. Jew begged them to do the hospital. They turned him down. You understand? That is part of where the falling out come from. And so there's a lot more that is to be said about the CBI, but that will want a separate program. But I would say to you, before God and man, I, Timothy Harris, hands clean. They don't have a thing on me. And I call into question their motives.
And my Straight Talk family, it's now 16 before the 10 o'clock hour. For those who may have just joined me, we are discussing our thesis tonight, Enemies of the State within and outside of the cabinet. And quite interesting, my Straight Talk family, the third Prime Minister had this to say about the enemies inside the government. Very interesting perspective, a very interesting point he made about the enemies inside the government. He referred to them or him. I don't know if he was referring to the Prime Minister, but the former or the second Prime Minister said this.
The point I want to make, Madam Speaker, is that we cannot allow persons for their own personal ambitions and gains persons who might have become bankrupt, persons who are still having problems with this government and persons in this government to take out and empty their claw on us here in this country with regard to the citizenship by investment program. Because some people are bent on destroying the program. And we shall not allow that to happen here in this country at all. We don't care who it is, where they come from, what has been their track record. You can't say that you want to sue a country and get in compensation from the sue over $1 trillion as compensation. And that is what is happening around us today, Madam Speaker.
Very interesting comment from our second Prime Minister. But let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, good night, Brother Patches. Good night to all the listeners.
Good night, my brother.
First of all, I would like to ask a question, not just to you, but to all who are listening. Are there more gossip in the Federation than improvement in the Federation? Why so much gossip and not action? Why so much gossip and promises not fulfilled that was made to be a quest? Our country has been deterred, deflect, deceived by too much gossip, too much soap opera, too much news, too much allegation. The people of St. Kitts need jobs, they need money, they need food, they need land, they need house, they need all the amenities that a human should survive on. Cut the BS to all the politicians. I need action. Let's start action and do due diligence to the people. Cut these BS. I'm tired of it, man. I'm not favoring anyone. Labour is accusing Timothy PLP. Timothy is saying this not go so. Everybody has their defense. What is the truth? What is the truth? It's about time for every man to confess their sin and let the country go on in a manner that humans should live. Too much. This is not even politics. This is BS. And it's about time for this to be stopped. Enough is enough. To whom it may concern. And who the cap fit, let them wear it. Look within yourself, people. Look within yourself, politicians, leaders, ministers, parliamentarians. What are the truth about facts that should be revealed to the people? And cut the BS. I will come again. Thanks for that time.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. We go straight back to the line and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live.
Good night.
How is the Bible man tonight? Good night.
The Bible man is all right.
You okay?
Because I call you and you won't answer your phone.
You did?
To tell the company so that.
When you called me, I didn't see a call from you. What's on your mind? Go ahead.
Are you departed?
I didn't see a call from you, I said. But let's talk about that. Let's make a point tonight because I have some callers on the line.
Well, it's interesting that
eat up the sauce up.
People must understand that people must understand, Patches, that God is looking over all. This is the second time
I heard somebody said, I sat in my house and I listened to the Prime Minister before God
and man,
my hands are clean. Mr. Limo says so, and Mr. Limo dead and gone. And now Mr. Harris. So make I tell you something tonight, Patrick. It is good to when man goes stand up in front of an audience and in front of God and speak the truth. But then look at this here. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, he shall also reap. And I am saying to you tonight, Patties, that the word of God says, this poor man cry, and the Lord heard him and delivered me from out all my troubles. That is the reason why you did not hear me. I having a wonderful time. I just wake up. I just wake up at it.
Okay.
And so it is good to talk to you. And I have a pleasant night, Mr. Patties. And people must understand that when people speak the truth, they must understand. See you, Mr. Patties.
Have a good night. Have a good night, my dear brother. Thanks, as usual, for your contribution. We go straight back to the lines. Call you live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hello, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty peaceful myself, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no amount of money is going to phase somebody like me.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're hardworking and dedicated and focused, no amount of money going to phase you.
True.
You know, I'm going to put it out there straight to the public and let the public know corruption has seeped into my own family. And I'm going to stand up against it. Just like how I talk about corruption on the general level in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm the only one standing up against it in my own family. Everybody who know who I am, just let them know corruption has seeped into my own family as well. And I'm standing up against it. For all those brothers and sisters who I got who think that they're going to phase me and they don't want to hear wrong from right, I'm putting it out there to them tonight and general public to hear. I'm standing up to all of them. I'm the last member in the family standing right now. And all older brothers and sisters of mine, I'm very disappointed with them. They are very corrupted, just the same like all those citizens down there in St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, let me get that out the way. And Mr. Liburd, and I'm talking straight to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis tonight. They're not even hearing my voice for some months and probably some years now. And, you know, I'm a relatively still a new caller on here, and I've been chanting down corruption. And for me to sit there and see corruption has seeped into my own family, I'm very disappointed, man. And I'm calling them out tonight. And I'm calling out everybody in St. Kitts and Nevis who's corrupted. And I'm going to support my colleague from New York tonight. It's too much talk in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The people need to gain some courage. The people need to gain some courage and stand up against this corruption that's happening there. With all this allegation that's in the public, I haven't seen one man move in St. Kitts and Nevis yet with one placard to stand up against this stuff. And if the people in them who've been talking on these talk shows for all of these years, if they know each other and they can mobilize during Carnival and Culturama, and they could be out there shaking their butts during Jubilee morning and so much people in the street naked, they can mobilize themselves and stand up in the street, go in the street and protest against this corruption just the same. And if the people of St. Kitts and Nevis don't move and get up off of their butts and do that, the status quo remain. We will be talking from now to Judgment Day, man. Everybody is defecting. Everybody is defending who they are associated with and who they are affiliated with. And if we cannot see that the CBI program is a national asset, need to be defended by all means necessary, then we're sleeping, we're blind. The people of St. Kitts Nevis got to wake up. We don't really have no true leader. The place is yearning for an honest, true leader right now. And somebody need to come out the fold and go in the street and galvanize the people so that person and a new movement can start in the Federation, because the Federation needs it. There is no opposition on both sides of the Narrows right about now. Man, I wish that blind clause wasn't there, because I'm not giving up my U.S. passport to come home for none of this stuff. Because this stuff is like some kiddie stuff, man. It's like some kiddie stuff. You know, everybody pointing their fingers at each other. You know what I mean? Everybody trying to distance themselves from this situation, but they all are to blame. From the moment Martinez came into St. Kitts and Nevis and the Nevis end, the politicians, all of them, know what time it was. This man came in under the COVID watch. You know what I'm saying? Even that in itself was a breach. You know what I mean? You know, people in St. Kitts Nevis, man, you all are like sleeping, man. The politicians got you all hypnotized. Right now, this is the 4th week since Martinez filed those cases. And all we've been hearing is people just blah, 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 back and forth. These are our leaders that we elect. We ain't elect these leaders to do this, to be carrying on like this. Just like how Team Unity implode. All of these alleged, you know, these people who've been alleged of all these corruption, they're doing the same thing. But the difference is now it's gone across party lines. This is just not one party who's corrupted. All of them is corrupted, and all the politicians in St. Kitts Nevis is corrupted. They all need to be replaced. This is the type of stuff that bring down governments. And if the people of St. Kitts and Nevis just sit there and don't do nothing about this, then the status quo remain. The status quo remain. Man, St. Kitts and Nevis needs some new leaders down there. Your place needs shaking up. And this MSR saga is really shaking up the place. But the people in them just sitting there and not doing nothing. They're not doing nothing, man. That's why all of these politicians gonna stay in there. They're recycled. They're all corrupted. You know, Dr. Chu, who's in right now, whatever him and his AG was privy to, whatever information they was privy to, they got that information prior to when they went in there, and immediately after they went in there. They did not do enough. Okay. If underselling the passports was a criminal act and it was unlawful, that AG, Dr. Chu should have directed that AG to make the move to charge the persons them who was doing the illegal activity. Okay. And none of that happened, man. Okay. Because all of them know what's going on. We couldn't get the transparency from them. And now we're getting the transparency from outside sources. That's a shame, man. Okay. That CBI program is a national asset of St. Kitts and Nevis that should be used towards developing the country. And they're scrunting right now, acting like as if like the money is scarce. But they got the money all over all scattered all over in their pockets and elsewhere. Okay. They haven't used that money. They haven't managed that money right. Okay. They haven't, man. They do all sorts of manners with that money. And now St. Kitts and Nevis people are going to have to suffer, bro, because when those social programs come down, then crime going to shut up, man. Okay, got you, the crime is going to shut up, man. Okay. They're mismanaging the people's money from since the inception 40 years ago. This is 40 years removed. The amount of money they done made during that CBI program, St. Kitts Nevis should be in tip-top shape, man. Okay, got you, my brother. People should be scrambling to come to St. Kitts and Nevis. Okay, but instead, no.
We've heard you, my brother. Thanks.
We need change in the place, man. Okay, if this government survive, man, it'll be a miracle, bro. But let them come up to the USA for this case. Okay. You think the USA are playing with them? The man just raided people's houses in St. Thomas, corruption in St. Thomas, corruption in Guyana, corruption in St. Nevis, corruption in my family, corruption everywhere.
Okay, my brother.
We have to get rid of that corruption, man. St. Nevis, stand up for yourself.
I've got you, my brother.
Show these politicians who got the real courage and the real power.
Okay, my brother. I got you.
Yeah, man. Have a good night, man. I wish this federation the best, man.
Yes, thank you. I understand. I felt your pain.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I felt you, my brother. The whole country felt you. Crooked, big lies, well-worn Jew to fail. Reads this email. He keeps repeating that Dr. Jew is his friend, but we all know they are looking money when he's saying this, trying to convince himself and maybe someone that he really likes Dr. Jew. He knows that Dr. Jew and the Labour Party has failed the country, and in his own words, nothing's happening in the country. He's a failure, and that is why Douglas and Congress called for his dismissal. Dr. Jew is taking advice from you, a total failure, and that is why he's a failure just like you. I want to send you a clear message. You will not continue to attack Congress and Douglas for Dr. Jew and get away. We all know that you are a spokesman for Dr. Jew. Reads this email. Patches, why is this Prime Minister so dishonest and lie? He gave out some numbers of passports that were sold from 2008 to 2022. Don't July know that he is in government from 2022 till now? Where are the numbers for that? How much was sold under him? That's the question reporters have been asking him for almost 2 years now. Where are your numbers, July? Tell us. What are you hiding? You are a disgrace and a very dishonest person who don't fit to be the leader of our beloved country. Reads this email. That guy, Dr. Jew, is a very dancing man. He went into politics because some people think he's a good man and will make a good prime minister. Because a man threw out a line doesn't make him a good fisherman. I am very ashamed of what July and his cabinet is doing to St. Kitts Nevis. We must do something. I am ready. It seems to me that Astaphan, Lucifer, and the snake are working together. Let us sit down and think about it. Something just ain't adding up. But what exactly is in it for them? If that man wins the lawsuit, Patches, please tell the public what will happen to St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't think all of us should suffer because I never voted for Labour. Reads this email. Patches, Friday in Parliament was a big joke. I was almost sorry for Douglas. We can see that Jew and Douglas are singing two different songs. Douglas singing a love song, how he loves CBI, while Jew singing a Wilder's Mash It Up. Only one question I have to ask Joe. How many certificates he signed since getting into office? If he can't answer that, he can't talk about CBI. Poor Joe. He is not only talking like crazy people, he look crazy too. Patches, I want to conclude that we have a crazy man as a prime minister in the person of crazy man July. Reads this other email. And this other email reads, Patches, for a long time now, I've been hearing July and his surrogates, especially those on the Groundless show on Freedom on Friday afternoon, saying that Timothy Harris has never released any information on the number of passports issued when he was in government. I hope people were listening National Assembly on Friday when July had to admit that in 2016, Timothy Harris did release the number of passports on the CBI. How is it that July don't want to release the number of passports sold since he took government? The truth always comes out, no matter how long it takes. Reads this email, and I take this final email. Drew, Garth, Dwyer, Sam, Mark, Big Lies, Martinez would like to see the CBI program destroyed. Why? Because they are jealous of Douglas and Timothy Harris. They start a lawsuit to bring down Douglas and Timothy and instead are exposing their wickedness and badness. Such a shame on Joe. He need to bag his head in shame, reads this email. And as we wind down tonight's program in my Straight Talk family, yes, someone raised the issue of passports. And in fact, Timothy Harris, I think it was in 2018, not 2016. I do recall that. In 2018, Harris did in fact report to the nation in terms of the passports that were issued as of 2018. I believe that's, beg your pardon, that's the year that he issued the number of passports that were issued during that period of time. And yes, I'll find it, Straight Talk always give you the facts. And these are the facts. And this is what Harris, our third Prime Minister, had to say. I trust and hope I have the right soundbite. This is what he had to say in 2018, I think it was.
Last time I had reported that under the program we were advised by the Canadian banknote, who manages our passport, the 10,777 had been issued at the end of December 2015. And we have the revised information from the banknote, which says that up to 2015, really, the figure should have been 12,496. And the total number of CBI passports now issued stands at 16,544.
And those were the figures issued by Harris. So our third Prime Minister, in fact, provided information in relation to the number of passports in 2018, 16,000 and more. But as we wind down tonight's program in my Straight Talk family, recall, and for those who may have just joined me, the thesis we addressed tonight is titled Enemies of the State Within and Outside Cabinet. And anyone who reads the content of the lawsuit against Prime Minister Terence Michael July must ask about the possible outcome for our country. So too, if we read the RICO lawsuit filed in the Tampa court, when one scans the content of the RICO lawsuit filed by this criminal in a U.S. federal court in Tampa, it is filled with nothing more than spurious allegations, but they are doing damage, untold damage to our country. And Douglas it was who in Parliament said this, and we ought to listen carefully to what Douglas said. He said this.
The point I want to make, Madam Speaker, is that we cannot allow persons for their own personal ambitions and gains, persons who might have become bankrupt, persons who are still having problems with this government and persons in this government, to take out and empty their claw on us here in this country with regard to the citizenship by investment program. Because some people are bent on destroying the program. And we shall not allow that to happen here in this country at all. We don't care who it is, where they come from, what has been their track record. You can't say that you want to sue a country and get in compensation from the sue over $1 trillion as compensation. And that is what is happening around us today, Madam Speaker.
And that's some potent words coming from Douglas. He spoke about people in the government. The Prime Minister? What about the unworthy Attorney General?
And I wonder what it is this man has over them. That the Attorney General, that unworthy Attorney General, could take and WhatsApp, according to the document, information, false information, to Dwyer Stefan, that man, fill in the blanks. And that man sent it to the other man. That is how high officials in government operate, with information, truth or false. We got to begin to ask ourselves.
And it's truth, because the criminal himself who filed the RICO lawsuit said this, my Straight Talk family.
Scam. This is the biggest heist that took place on the people of the Caribbean with their passport money.
And my Straight Talk family, we know, even from the Deputy Prime Minister in St. Lucia, that this man is just a vagabond. Was Ernest Hilaire of St. Lucia spoke of his lies. But if he's a fraudster, then he must also easily qualify as a liar as well, my Straight Talk family. And Hilaire told St. Lucia and told the Caribbean and told the world this about the lies peddled by Philip Martinez, the convicted gangster, convicted fraudster to be exact, my Straight Talk family. He said this.
Contrary to what Mr. Martinez has said in a publicized interview and repeated by Alan Chasney and the UWP, St. Lucia has never approved 14,000 applications. I want to repeat that. St. Lucia has never approved 14,000 applications, and there is no $1.4 billion. We have only approved 1,367 real estate applications for Galaxy since we have come into office. That 1,367 applications cannot, in any mathematical calculations, equate to 1.2 billion or 1.4 billion. You can do the math for yourself. So contrary to what Mr. Martinez said last night, St. Lucia CIP unit has never collected or given anyone $1.4 billion.
That's coming from the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Lucia, who challenged the information or misinformation provided by this convicted criminal. But my Straight Talk family, I believe by now we would have identified the enemies of the state. Do you believe that one enemy of the state is the Prime Minister himself, July? Do you believe that the unworthy Attorney General, whose WhatsApp messages between an advisor of the criminal, do you believe that he is, as well as and can be considered an enemy of the state? What about my Straight Talk family? What about Gerald Anthony Dwyer Astafan? Would you consider him an enemy of the state? We know that Philippe Martinez is in fact an enemy of the state. But how do we treat these enemies of the state, my straight dog family? How do you treat them? Is a question I will leave with you, on which I want you to ponder. How do you treat these enemies of the state, my straight dog family? These are questions we ask ourselves. We must ask ourselves the question: how do we treat these enemies of the state? I could imagine the answer or the question or the issue is a complex and sensitive one, and it may vary significantly and or otherwise, depending, my straight dog family, just depending on the framework, be it legal, be it considered in the historical context or the societal values of our federation. There are several general principles and considerations that must be made. Of course, we expect these enemies of the state to be subjected to fair and transparent processes, be they legal and or otherwise. Someone said they should be flogged. But having served at the United Nations, we consider the human rights, my straight dog family. But whatever the conclusion, these enemies of the state must not be tolerated. They must not be tolerated, my straight dog family. Because as we wind down, and I'm getting this call, and my straight dog, I'm tempted to take this call if that caller can use 15 seconds. Can you? Hello,
Good
call?
evening.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, rain is coming, so I think it. Good evening, Mr.
Patches is fine.
Patches Liburd.
Patches
Yes.
is fine.
I've been listening to the discussion or the conversation, and I just wanted to say a few things without getting into the, whole thing about what is going on. Clearly, there's a question of integrity. There's been a problem there. But I remember a senior pastor of the church I attend said, sometimes God allows bad things to happen so that good things could be achieved. God allows sometimes bad things to happen so good things to be achieved. And so sometimes we just have to move on and let things unfold. I think St. Kitts and Nevis, with all the discussion that is going on, where there's enough blame to go around, really, that we're going to pass through something, but we still have to move forward. And I'm reminded, and I'm just going to allow me just to read from Jeremiah 29, verses 4 to 7. I'm not going to read all of it, but it says something like this. And this is when the Israelites were taken captive in Babylon, and this is what was said. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captive, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Build ye houses and dwell in them. Plant your gardens, eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, etc. And then it says, and seek the peace of the city whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord for it, for in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. So, whatever happens, we have to move ahead. So I'm going to make what maybe seem to be an outlandish suggestion. We know that there's still quite a lot of funds in the CBI program in what we have now. But there's going to be a lot of attacks on it from the various sources that we're hearing about. And I think the people of the country, that is the nationals of the country, those born here and residing here, need to get something out of it now. And I would propose that the government should take out some funds for example, building the Bassi High School. That should already be in process, because that way it would generate employment and generate revenues, expenditure, and stimulate the economy. And one or two of the other projects, get them going. We need to deal with what is here now. And then take out a certain amount of money and give it to the nationals. And I'm talking about those born and residing here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I did a little bit of they would say back of the envelope calculation. We have about 51,000 persons in St. Kitts right now. Those persons over 18 years of age and are nationals of the country. And I would put that at about 30,000 persons, roughly. Give them each $10,000. 10,000. That would come, I think, to something like 300 million. Government should take that 300 million and distribute it to the 30,000 or so persons. Let them do, whether they put it in some of the banks, and we have to be very careful here, whether they hide it under their mattress, and I would say some of it they should just take and put it, not even in some of the institutions, but have it secure otherwise, and let them have that. Because we don't know what is going to come and remove some of those funds. So that should be a safeguard. At least $10,000 should be given to each individual. That may seem outlandish, but I think we have to kind of jump ahead of the curve, or the curve as they would say, and sort of, how should I say, compensate our people for what is going on here. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear Street Dog family. Well, like I said, there are several ways we can deal with this sensitive issue, and that one is mixed with societal values of federation, and perhaps a nice way to end our program tonight. I took that call as it came in belatedly, but a nice way to end our program tonight, and some real food for thought coming from that professional lady. I think I recognize the voice. And that's the way we're going to end it, my Straight Talk family. And I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the many listeners. I want to thank all those who called, all those who sent emails. And just to remind you that you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spear, we will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, until we connect, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember that whatever your mind conceives, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family.
Till we reach the top somehow.